Welcome to Crosby's Crew.
Welcome back to Crosby's Crew. We are here at Riverbend in Kohler, Wisconsin, and we are joined by John Hamel. This is, what are we on now? Like our 10th episode? We've done this for a while.
Don't keep track of glasses of wine. I'm not keeping track of how many episodes we've made there.
All right. Well, like we do every episode, I'm going to kick it off with a toast. You like that, Molly? Kick it off?
I do.
All right. Here's to deep roots in the vineyard, on the field, and in life. May we all grow stronger through the seasons that challenge us and leave something lasting beneath the surface.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, excellent. All right. So we have John Hamel, like I said, of Hamel Family Wines, third generation vintner committed to dry farming, letting the vines do the hard work to express the land. A UW-Madison grad with Wisconsin roots and Sonoma style. I like that. Passionate about legacy, sustainability, and the beauty that comes from struggle. So today we're going to taste Sauvignon Blanc, we're going to taste Grenache, and we're going to taste a red blend that is very interesting, right? Like mountain fruit. Like, I can't wait to hear about that.
And then the main themes we're going to cover is we've been told by everybody from the moment we moved here that CU Boulder and UW-Madison are like sister universities. So we're going to dive into some college experiences.
Awesome.
Kind of what was formative for all three of us.
Yeah.
We're also going to kind of switch gears and talk about how what we've learned applied to what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually really excited for our third segment, which is going to be figuring out how your dry farming techniques really relate to Mason's experience playing in Lambeau Field. And then we'll go to our listener questions. Some people had some real specific questions for you.
Okay.
And then we'll have you ask us a question, which we have no clue what the question is. There's been some interesting answers that we've had to provide. And for those who are not going to be able to see maybe socials or whatever, just want it to be known that we're all representing in our sambas of the day. So John's got some red and white ones that we brought for him for, I mean, it's not quite Saturday, but we're close.
Right.
You can wear them on Saturdays cheering on the Badgers. Mason and I both went kind of Packer themed. I was in between like a burgundy pair, but I did my first Instagram poll, which was painful to watch me trying to do. Mason was like, this is really not this hard. And the people have spoken and they chose my Go Pack Go. I had like the bold look of Kohler.
Yeah.
I had like a black and cream pair, a wine themed one, and then Go Pack Go. And that's where we landed.
It was a close call.
Yeah. So John, we'd like you to introduce us to this Sauvignon Blanc. Kind of give us our little tasting notes. We embarrass ourselves readily by trying to say what we taste.
Yeah.
Because at Crosby's Crew, we just really want people to feel comfortable with who they are in that moment as a wine drinker or maybe trying for the first time. So we encourage our listeners to purchase the wines and drink along with us as they listen to the episode.
Very cool. Yeah. So we're starting with a 2023 Sauvignon Blanc. I think like a key thing for us, we grow all the grapes we make wine from. And I've gotten to the point, I'm 15 years kind of working with the family business, and it really becomes, at a certain point, it was all about the winemaking, but you kind of realize at a certain point, it's really, the wine is made before the grapes even arrive. And I think a lot of our focus is on the vineyard, where our vineyards are basically kind of at the base and kind of on the side of the slope of an old ancient volcano. So all the soils are volcanic. And what we're going for with this wine is something that shows kind of the minerality that you get from volcanic soils, but with a touch of richness that you see coming from kind of a warm Mediterranean climate in California. So we want freshness. We want something that has more depth coming from kind of the soil. So you'll see a nice kind of energy and minerality on the palate. But we want it to really be kind of citrus and fresh, refreshing and enjoyable.
I get that for sure. Yeah, like that first little hit. It's almost citrus, like orange lemon. Like
Absolutely,
wow. Oh, right.
So that's why I always let Mason say what he smells first, because he's usually right.
Yeah.
I got more honeydew melon.
Refined palate over here.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's citrus. It has stone fruits, and I think like there was a little bit of a melon, almost like tropical sensibility, but there's also a nice like flintiness that you get aromatically, and that's coming from like the volcanic ash that we have.
So, and that's so when I think of a California Sauvignon Blanc, I think Australia, I think more like tropical, right?
Yeah.
And then California doesn't always have this mineral quality. And you're saying that's the wine that was made before it was in the glass. That's the soil.
I think like it took us, it's been, I think my career trying to figure this out, but I think at a certain point, you're right. I think in a place like Australia, Sauvignon Blanc might be tropical. In a place like New Zealand, it might be grassy and herbaceous. France might be kind of herbaceous, more mineral. And I think California has the unique ability to have something that is elegant, has fruit, but also has kind of a sense of minerality that you get more kind of from the French side as well.
So I know how we like to drink Sauvignon Blanc, which is generally like by the pool watching a football game while the kids are swimming. How do you like to drink Sauvignon Blanc? Like, when are you reaching for this bottle?
Yeah, I mean, I love, I think red wines for me are really kind of with food kind of thing. And I think Sauvignon Blanc is more versatile. It's like what you guys were talking about. You can have it as an aperitif before a meal. You can have it next to the pool. Or with just kind of like a light meal. So all three of those instances,
What would you grab off the charcuterie plate to pair with Sauvignon
Yeah,
Blanc?
I think probably of what we're looking at, more of the cheeses, and I think, kind of more of the cheese cracker sensibility.
Okay, while I'm starting to chomp away, what was it? Oh, why did you go San Francisco to Madison? Was it the family connection? Because y'all, like, it runs deep.
Yeah,
like, there are badgers on your bottle.
Into your story,
If I had had more time, I would have gotten a badger stuffed animal and a Ralphie buffalo stuffed animal so they could sit here together, representing. But and I think you studied journalism?
Yeah, I studied journalism. So growing up in California, I actually have more friends that went to Boulder than Madison, because
This makes sense.
we were talking a little bit about this before. But I got the question a lot, mainly, from Californians, why are you going to Wisconsin for college? And then, from Wisconsin people, why would you leave California to come here? And I think the family connection was big for me. My grandfather, my dad went there. Neither were from Wisconsin, but in a roundabout way ended up there.
Okay, I did not know that. I just assumed if they were going to Madison, it was because they were somehow from there. Because we have learned that all roads lead back to Wisconsin.
From Wisconsin, but it's like...
How did they choose it?
So,
not that it's not awesome. It's awesome, but I'm interested.
So my grandfather grew up in Massachusetts, but was a colonel in the Army during the Vietnam War, and was kind of sent to get his master's in public relations at Madison, which has a great journalism and communications program. So my dad lived here maybe when he was in like second, third grade time frame. And so he had fond memories of it, but grew up for the most part in Northern Virginia. And when he was looking at colleges, he wasn't, and he will be the first to admit it, not a great student. So had a more limited options in terms of where he could go to college. And Wisconsin in the 70s had an open enrollment policy, which meant they would let everyone in and let the academics kind of filter out who belonged and who didn't. So that helped him get in.
Oh, it was a clean slate. Like, it was what he needed.
Yeah, it was a clean slate. And so he went there. And then, I grew up for the most part in California, but kind of every year my dad would take my brothers and I to Madison. We'd see a football game, or if it was in the winter, we'd see a hockey game. And he would make the weekend the greatest,
best weekend of your life.
The greatest time, yeah. So I was indoctrinated from an early age, and so when it came time to look at colleges, I mean, Wisconsin was definitely like the top of my list.
And then you studied journalism, so you said it's like a top school.
Yeah, it's a great journalism program. I use very little of what I learned in my day-to-day job, but it was a great program, and fantastic 4 years.
Okay, so let's leave the academics in the dust.
You didn't study viticulture.
Not at that point.
Not at that point.
Yes,
no, not at that point.
That wasn't the goal.
Did
y'all have the vineyard though?
My parents were making a little bit of wine before then. They do have a good fermentation sciences program at Madison in their food sciences kind of department, but it's all for beer. And like cheese.
Okay. I mean, stick with what you know. But let's go ahead and drop the books. I want to know from both of you, best college memory?
Wow.
Yeah.
Big
I
question.
mean, it's real.
You're not going to share yours?
I know.
Okay, I get it.
Cheering
It was
you
meeting
on
me.
at football
Yeah, it was
games,
meeting
Mason.
me
Those are
outside
my.
the library.
Okay.
Our like meet story.
He
was,
asked where the library was.
No,
I was like, oh my
no,
gosh.
I was like, which side?
No,
Or,
he
like,
asked, where is the library?
We didn't have pens, at that time where you.
No,
get
he
pen with your
never
phone.
went to the library.
Okay.
I will go ahead and say, my best college memory is like it's a combination of memories, but I was a cheerleader at CU, and you'd stand in the back where it says Colorado in the end zone, and Mason would kick off. And a lot of times the ball would come through to the back, and like everybody being from a really small town in Colorado, just the energy of the stadium. And then my major was kind of like narrow. And so during the week, I'd be in these really small classes, and then to be part of a CU football game, like the black on black home jerseys and the excitement. And he looked cute in his uniform. And I loved those
She got
moments.
mad at me pretty much my whole career after that. And I realized that like, if I didn't kick touchbacks. She'd just be like,
Just
are
like-
you trying to kick touchbacks? Like, what? I'm like, you sound like everyone else. Like,
Well, it's just like such a winning play. Like just kick the ball out of the end zone.
That's right.
Just do that.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
John, what do you have a favorite
That means
memory?
he
Is there a
doesn't know
moment?
yet.
I mean, I was hoping you would take the second one, so I buy me a
No, we
little
gotta
bit
go
of
back
time.
and forth.
Yeah. No, so I don't. This would not necessarily be my favorite one, but it kind of relates to wine. So my senior year, we kind of moved off campus. I had a great group of friends. We had our own house, a really fun part of town. And we'd have a party almost every weekend. And one of the ones that kind of relates, or maybe foreshadowed where I was going, not in a real way, was a Tour de Franzia party. So we never drank beer.
I almost feel like we should try that.
That's funny.
At this age, it might be, when you guys are used to drinking a little bit better wine, it might be. It's better to start with Franzia and
that's
move
where you
this
start.
direction than go the other way. But it was a fun party where at the very end there was a race around kind of the neighborhood, and it was a lot of fun. So I have great memories generally of that group of people. It's kind of what you were saying. It's not one specific thing, but if I had to isolate it and make it one thing, it was kind of parties like that.
Who came up with this idea, and did y'all wear biking apparel?
A few of the people wore biking apparel. Most of the people did not.
Okay,
and
seems to be
I think I have to credit one of my roommates with the idea. I can't remember who came up with it.
I have a friend. We got to tell Amy Roach about this.
Yes.
She lives for a
likes
theme party.
Yeah.
As an adult woman, this is still a priority for
Yeah.
her, and this is epic. What was it? Tricycles, bicycles? Like, how did
It
you
was
race?
bicycles.
Okay.
Madison is a good biking town for college students, and so everyone had one, and so it was fun. Honestly, in college we were drinking more beer, spirits. It was probably the one time we drank wine. Honestly, in 4 years that we actually had boxed wine.
And here we are.
And here we
now.
are.
Here we are now. It's put me on the road.
Mason, best college memory.
Best college memory.
Other than
That I can
when
tell.
we became, oh God.
Stories I can tell. No, my obviously playing football at Colorado was so special, and I was able to kick a game winner against Colorado State on my 21st birthday.
Wow.
Hated rivals.
Wow.
That still has to be the biggest kicking moment of my my college career for sure, where hit that field goal against the rival.
Yeah.
21st birthday. Can't tell the rest of the story.
Sure can.
But let's just say we had a good time.
Yeah,
That was, again, not drinking wine at that point. I think we did some sake bombs and
you have
some
been
other
with your
things.
parents for that,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I sent my parents back off to, they went to the hotel, and then the night continued on. But
And I got you home safe at the end.
Yep, you did. Always taking good care of me. But Madison, Boulder, some real similarities. And, something I want to know is just then, when did you know that you were going to get into the family business and get into winemaking and do all, and how did that journey start? You didn't just start as a winemaker.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, my parents were making a little bit of wine starting in 2006, and that was right around the time, or I went to college just before then. But I knew a little bit about wine. They had a passion for it before they started to make their own. They would have it at the dinner table, in high school, and we're okay sharing it. But I was a journalism major. I wanted to kind of be a writer. My dream job would have been, writing for, some long form kind of journalism stuff.
Nice.
But I felt like I didn't want to just like get right into a career, and I wanted to do something different. And for a little bit before I hunkered down, and I'd gotten into cooking. So my mom, great cook, never let my brothers or I get anywhere near,
Nice.
So when I was in college, it was a big problem because I couldn't do anything. I was so basic. Yeah. And I had a friend group that enjoyed cooking, and we'd make food. So it made it easier, and I actually really got into it. Madison also has like one of the best farmers markets kind of in the country.
This does feel very Boulder, as you talk about.
Yeah. It's a very Boulder type thing. But basically on the square, they have one every Saturday. And so we live 2 blocks away, and we'd get great food. It was like really, honestly, the first time I heard about things like organic, and even we farm in a way called biodynamics. The first time I heard like those phrases, when I graduated from college, I just wanted to do something like completely different. And I looked to move on to a farm of all things, an organic farm.
Nice.
And there's this program where you basically could work on a farm in exchange for room and board. As it happens, I looked everywhere across the country. Where I found a place was on Mount Veeder in Napa County.
No way.
And it wasn't in a vineyard. It was on a organic kind of produce farm.
That's awesome.
It was a really cool experience, but I needed, after, room and board is not real money. So I needed to make real money at a certain point. And with the journalism background and knowing a little bit about wine through my parents, I got a job doing public relations for a firm that represented a lot of wineries.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
And you guys were mentioning
wine adjacent.
Wine adjacent, and you guys were mentioning Keith Emerson before. Vineyard 29 was one of the clients of this one.
nice.
So I actually got into in a weird way. I was familiar with them. They were one of the first wineries I really learned about because they were a client.
Oh, that's really cool.
Okay, so I did that for a little bit, and I don't know what it is about. I think coming off of a farm and then seeing this kind of like agriculture and winemaking process that was very precise, and all the details were super considered. It just, I kind of fell in love. Yeah, I fell in love with it. And I started to ask my dad a lot more about how he was, making his wine, what he was doing, all the decisions. Nice. And for him, I think he was at the end of his career and wanting to, he'd been making a little bit of wine. He saw my interest, and I think the idea of a family business really appealed to him.
Nice.
Yeah. So who would he rather pass that knowledge on to?
Yeah, than me. So we started to work. I officially started working with him in 2010. And worked under a winemaking consultant, and we worked with the Vineyard management company. And 2017, I kind of earned the opportunity to be winemaker. So, and started managing the vineyards and all that. So that's kind of a little bit of the background.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Hey,
yeah.
I want to put you on the spot. Would you please talk a little bit about how you ended up being a kicker at CU? Because it's a really interesting story. It's not quite journalism to winemaker, because it was like defensive back to kicker, but I love this story. I hope you tell it right, because I don't want to interrupt.
Why are you having me tell it?
He doesn't always tell it right.
I'm going to start, and then she'll jump in.
I'll eat something.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck.
No, so yeah, my journey going into kicking in college was I played everything in high school. I always played soccer. I played other positions, but then it was like kind of taking a calculated like opportunity, and it's like, okay, what am I going to have the best opportunity to get to the NFL and get to that next step? And so I started going to more kicking camps and working on my craft and doing all that. And then through that, I got invited to a Nike ID camp at the University of Colorado. Okay, Gary Barnett's the coach at the time. Yeah. So I get to the camp, and I'm like looking they had just had all the position groups out, and I'm like, is there a kicker spot? And they're like,
I thought you were there as a defensive back.
No, I'm waiting for this.
I tell the story better. Okay, go ahead.
I thought I had gotten invited to come as a kicker. Yeah. But they just for some reason had me with the DBs. Okay. So
he was an All-American defensive back in Texas.
Not an All-American, but
so what were you?
Like an All-State, but yeah. It's not.
Still pretty good.
It's Texas football, so it's basically American.
Oh my gosh, that's a whole
Thank you,
other.
thank you.
Oh my gosh.
No, but so I go there. I'm like, I'm like, okay, like I'll go run around as DB. Maybe they're interested in my defensive back skills. Get out there. The other guys that are there at the camp, I'm definitely not going to play defensive back at a D1 college Colorado. Realized that pretty quick as we're running through drills. I'm not that I was just bad, but it was just like, all right, this isn't going to be my journey. Yeah. Vance Joseph was actually the defensive back coach at the time, who has gone on to be head coach and done some things in the NFL. But I go to him during a break, and I'm just like, hey, like, I'm probably not going to play DB here, but there was another kid kicking on the other field, and I was like, can I just, like, I'm a kicker, can I go kick with him? Yeah. So I go over there, get warmed up, and then had the best kicking session of my life. Like I probably still to this day, that was probably the best kicking I've ever had. Yeah. I'm hitting 60 yarders. I'm kicking, kicking off.
Junior in high school.
I was a junior in high school. Wow. And I'm just like, yes, altitude. And I'm like coming from Texas. I'm like, is the ball flying farther? Like what's happening? But I just remember Gary Barnett, walking over while I'm kicking. And he's just standing there, and he pulls over another like the special teams coach, and they're just like, they watch like my last 5 kicks. Yeah. He calls me over, and he's just like who are, like, what do you do? Like he didn't even know like who I was or what I was doing. And he was like, is your mom here? And I was like, yeah, she's over there waiting. And he was like, all right, get your mom, come to my office. Yeah. He literally took us up to the office on the spot, offered me a scholarship to play at the University of Colorado from that kicking, set. He was like, the guy I was kicking against was the guy they'd already given a scholarship
Same
to.
age.
Wow. Same age, coming out of high school. He was really good too, but like, it was wild. Like I wish I had film of it, because it was one of those days that is like out of body experience. Yeah. And, not that I haven't had great days since then, but it was
special.
It was special, and it got me that opportunity. Yeah. And, I talk about that all the time with, whenever I get to get in front of people and speak and it's just like, don't let that opportunity pass you by. Like, are you a type of person that's going to rise up and be elite and like excellent in those moments? Or are you going to shy away and like wait for the next moment that might feel easier or better? So always chasing that moment. And as soon as it's in front of you, like go full in. Yeah. I've had moments where I've gone full in and fallen on my face, but it's like always going to chase that moment. And that was that moment where you got all this. So, the next 20 years of my life was from that moment.
Wow. Well, and Gary, it kind of reminds me a little bit of you and your dad, right? Mm-hmm. Like your dad saw, like, there it is. Yeah. Here's the thing that I want to give him more than anybody else. Just like, and you owe it to your father in a sense to say, and I love how you put it, that you earned eventually the right to be the winemaker. And I think that that's awesome. And it's kind of, I mean, that's what Gary did for you too. Yeah. Like he gave
I was pretty
raw
your spot still at that time. Like I really hadn't like focused on kicking for more than like a year or two. Wow. At that point. So it was like really kind of honing in my craft then, but had that raw ability, was able to execute. And then it was like, all right, now, it was like, I got the opportunity. Now I got to earn every day. And
you got to prove it.
Yeah. And there were ups and downs, but got it sorted out. It was funny. The guy that I competed against, we were close, and it's like we're same age. He stayed at school there. He just wanted to go he's an aerospace engineer. Wow. So Colorado, great engineering school. Yeah. So he
go and work for Boeing or something?
He was like, it's awesome that you're here. Cause like, he was like, a lot of his aerospace engineer classes were during football practice. Okay. So he ended up redshirting. And he was like, I'm so glad you're here, because now I can just take all my classes and don't have to come to practice.
And they kept his full ride.
He ended up kicking his last season.
Before we go to our first sponsor identification break, I do want to ask, even though I'm so nervous about what you're going to say. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. So does your Wisconsin love go past Badgers on Saturday to Packers on Sunday, or are you a 49ers fan? Are you a 49er? Maybe don't answer.
You're not an Oakland Raiders fan.
Not a Raiders fan. Okay, so
oh my gosh, he didn't say he's not a Niners fan.
Okay,
well, I can see it in his eyes. Actually, he's a Niners fan.
Okay, so
sweating.
So I'm a middle of 3 brothers, and I think if you guys, have siblings, you can understand. But especially when you have 3 brothers, your whole life is a competition. and
possibly a football game.
And so we were all born in the Northern Virginia area. My dad grew up, back when they were the Redskins
Yeah.
fan. And so my older brother is my dad as one of our siblings. Like he just always, personality-wise, looks like him. He wanted to be, a Redskin fan. But we did have the Wisconsin connection, and I kid you not, the Packers, just for whatever reason, appealed to me. It was kind of when I was growing up as the Brett Favre era. Oh, yeah. And I didn't want to do what my brother did. And they were a team. I don't know if it was, a combination of the Wisconsin connection, the video games we'd play, and just and then what you'd see every, Sunday night or Sunday day. And so my younger brother became the Niners fan. So it was this epic kind of.
That's awesome.
We will never invite him on the podcast.
Cross country.
But at this point, I root for both teams, and it's tough because that's a tough thing to root for both in certain situations, especially.
Yeah, like when they were. We won't talk about it.
Unfortunately, 49ers have been
you really covered your bases there, John.
I feel I have allegiances to both, but the earliest one is more Packers.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. We feel comfortable
with that.
We'll accept
it. Yeah. He is a Green Bay Packer fan.
He was a Green Bay Packer fan first and always. Okay, so we'd like to take a moment to recognize Kohler, our sponsor, who has welcomed us to Kohler, Wisconsin for the Kohler Food and Wine Festival. We were joking beforehand as we were setting it for the show that this is where we come to kind of put the pieces of our life back together. Yeah. I mean,
we just need 2 days.
2 days.
Reset.
It's like an awakening of senses, right? Yeah. Like you're out in nature. You're in the design museum where we're getting ready for this big home project, which now he's going to be sweating. But
I was looking at a lot of toilets.
Yes, he was. It's this atmosphere of wellness and just appealing to all the senses that you have, the nature and the food and the wine. And then honestly, the accommodations I feel like are just so intuitive to what you need. Yeah. And my dad was a Kohler dealer. Cool. He only did kitchens and bathrooms. He was a kitchen and bathroom designer. And so growing up in Colorado, that was the deal. My dad was the whole business. And when Mason got drafted and we were getting married, he's like, you should go to Kohler, Wisconsin.
He didn't care about the Packers and all that.
Not at all. Like, Kohler. It was all Kohler. And I said, Dad, Kohler, like the toilets? He's like, I heard it's really nice. And I'm a good daughter. So I went and I was just texting Mason the whole time. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I think we've tried to.
And then I jumped on board with the golf and the great accommodations and the amazing food.
And the wine. And
I'm in for all of that.
And so what we like about being affiliated with Kohler, like the privilege of that partnership is it's exactly what we're talking about. When we at Crosby's Crew, we really want people to gather around a table, food and wine, and have their senses be appealed to, recalibrate, slow down, connect. Yeah. But we also like the idea of our every night glass of wine with dinner, where we have that small moment of connection. And we feel like Kohler isn't just destinations. Like we've been to their hotel in Scotland. Mason helped open Lodge Kohler in Green Bay, which is unbelievable. If you haven't been there, you need to add it to your list. Okay. But then it's Kohler products that you use in your everyday life that make your everyday life feel a little bit more special.
That's pretty great.
And I want to point out that the Sambas that I have is actually, they are called like the Bold Collection. So cool. The Bold Look of Kohler Bold Collection. Okay. For us, Kohler isn't just a brand. It's a part of our story. My dad was an exclusive Kohler dealer, so I grew up knowing their commitment to quality and design.
And for me, I helped open Lodge Kohler in Green Bay, and we've celebrated some of our best memories there, like my 40th birthday at Black Wolf Run.
Kohler, Wisconsin and Kohler properties have always been our favorite places to relax, connect, and of course, enjoy great wine together.
So it feels full circle that Kohler Company, boldly innovating for over 150 years, is now part of Crosby's Crew, bringing extraordinary moments to everyday life. Cheers to that.
So segue now, the spokesperson they didn't ask for, but ended up with, let's go to Grenache. Let's go Grenache. Yep. Let's do this. Will you tell us about this Grenache?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So I think just tasting the wine, where we are. So a lot of people think Sonoma, so Sonoma is one county west of Napa. A lot of people associate Sonoma with like Pinot Noir Chardonnay, right?
Okay.
But that's a lot further away from the town of Sonoma Valley, Moon Mountain District, where we are, which we basically share a mountain range with Napa. We're on the western side of that mountain range. So very warm where we are, a lot of light, a lot of heat. Pinot Noir it's just too warm for Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And we focus predominantly on Cabernet Sauvignon based blends. But Grenache is a variety that can be in a warm climate, but still give you a more kind of red fruited, floral, kind of herbaceous sensibility. So I think what we're looking for from kind of the Grenache is something that gives you a nice, more elegant side. You'll see more power and more structure with the Cabernet Sauvignon that we taste last, but this is kind of more, I would say, fresh, red fruited, not heavy in any sort of sense, but shows kind of the minerality of the place that we are. And it's kind of what we're looking for from the wine.
Okay. When do you grab this bottle?
Yeah, so this wine is super versatile with food because it kind of is almost in between the two things. So, I mean, I think you could look at almost anything on this plate, maybe aside from, honestly, anything on the plate aside from maybe the raisins or the cranberry raisins. But I think the versatility with food, it's also fresh and not too heavy, so you can have it on its own. Yeah. So I would say it's the most versatile wine of the lineup in terms of just kind of food and occasion.
That's great. So is this do you like this summer evenings, like grilling? Mm-hmm. Do you like it? I mean, I like that we can say we're wine industry because then that doesn't make me sound like an alcoholic. Like this tastes like lunch to me.
Yeah, so this is more lunch, I would say.
I like that.
Fish, chicken, I would say is kind of if you're cooking, it's more
it's so light.
more in that realm. Yeah.
I love the idea of this with fish.
Yeah.
And we'll let Mason say what he tastes first, but what I like.
But I like so far both of them, and so I'm excited about the cab too. Is like again, like you said, the minerality. Like you can taste we're gonna talk more about how you do your farming.
I cannot wait to get into that.
Like it's just you can taste the soil, and that's what it is, right? And Sonoma, and then that the wine country it's farming first.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't cultivate and farm correctly, the grapes are grown in that farming process.
So what I like about your Grenache is that it feels less Grenache to me than other Grenaches when I think of Grenache, I think of like...
I said Grenache about 30 times.
Grenache. I feel like it's like less tart pucker.
Yeah.
But I still...
It's a little drier.
It definitely still is like a little bit like... Why don't you say what you tasted?
I already said a little bit, so I want to hear what you taste.
Well, I enjoy how it smells because it feels more, it kind of feels like spa outdoor to me. I don't get just like a ton of fruit right off the nose. I smell more of like it's at the end for me.
Like a little floral,
less floral, more fern almost.
Fern?
It's more just like green plants or I just like that the little bit of tart fruit comes at the end, but it isn't like the beginning for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
He loves Grenache.
I mean, I think it's a really interesting variety, and it is, I think like you're alluding to, depending on where you're growing it, it can be a different expression. In Napa, maybe a little bit bigger. I think in Châteauneuf-du-Pape in the Rhone, where it's, a home, it has a home. It for sure has more higher alcohol, a little bit more kirsch or kind of like red fruits that are more stewed. But this is more fresh, red fruits. So more raspberry, cranberry for me.
I love that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about, choosing majors versus finding your passion. So you kind of already touched on that. Yeah. But to me, I see your journalism as like translating to your winemaking because as I read a lot of articles on you because it was really interesting. Like, I know where you had your honeymoon. I feel a little awkward. Like, I know a lot about you. And you have yet to. We were in the Bahamas, so now we both know each other's honeymoon.
That's a nice spot.
Thank you.
A little bit warmer than where we
France.
were.
But how, like, to me, you're telling the story of the soil. So like, it still feels like journalistic reporting. To me, what you're doing. And then Mason, kind of the tee up for you, he was a communications major.
Okay, yeah, so we're in the same realm.
Is
a lot of journalism.
What was that like on the field? Like for you, we'll kind of bounce back and forth. So you have this idea, and from what I can tell, like how you wanted to change how the vineyard was operating was like not really encouraged. Right? It was out of the box for the area, for the state, for the country, possibly even. And you had to take that idea and like get buy-in. And it wasn't guaranteed it was going to work. And then from you, Mason.
Well, I want a little side question into that too. Is that like with that journalism piece, I mean, like telling that story, right? Is part of the whole process. So I want to hear like I love the idea of like it's about making the wine. It's about doing the farm, but then you have to tell the story.
Absolutely.
So like that's probably where you enjoy some of that space, I would assume.
So you went to France. You were excited to share, at that wine vineyard. All that you were doing that related to what they were doing there. And then there was the line, right? Like, well, if you're not dry farming, you're basically making wine out of potted plants. So now you come back with this like vision, mission, but you have to get buy-in. And then furthermore, when you go and talk to some mentors or different things, people are kind of like, it's not going to work. So how'd you tell that story correctly, and how do you tell the story of your soil now?
I mean, I think the way that I got buy-in was, so I think the general concept is in California, we have a warm climate. We don't get rain during the growing season. We get it all during the winter and kind of adjacent, and a little bit in the fall, a little bit in the spring. So people think we need to irrigate. We don't get rain during the core part of the growing season when the vines have the crop. And the French, the general thinking is they're not allowed to irrigate in all the areas where they make wine that's designated on the label. So they think of it as kind of a not true farming, and that the wines don't express the place because you're kind of diluting a little bit.
Like you're manipulating it.
Manipulating the environment. And so the French winemaker who, I mean, I think for me, it was someone who I idolized, basically said you'll never make a wine that shows a sense of place if you're irrigating.
Because you're changing the place.
Because you're changing the place. And what his comment was that you alluded to was that you basically will have a lot of potted plants in a field if you're irrigating, which the basic, thing that he's saying is the plants aren't connected physically to the place. So a year after this, so I came back.
And less water makes the roots grow deeper faster, right?
Yes,
like that plant is stressed and reaching, so then you're getting into more of the layers of the soil.
Exactly. And I think so what we realized a year later, I was starting to work with this terroir consultant who is, it's kind of a niche thing, but basically trying to understand the soils and what the soils are giving to the wine. And we're digging hundreds of soil pits to look at what the soil looks like, and then fermenting those areas separately and trying to understand that. But I looked at what the roots were doing, and I had this French winemaker's comment in the back of my head, and we were irrigating at the time, and what I saw generally were roots about 3 feet deep and just hovering around where water would come out of an emitter. And in the background, this terroir consultant is talking about what's happening at 6, 7, 8, 9 feet. And it's, it's kind of the question you think about is if the roots aren't touching that, how are you ever going to see it in the wine? Right?
Sure.
So I realized irrigation may be a problem. And so there's a famous winery in Napa called Dominus. They've been dry farmed since the early 80s. And I reached out to the winemaker there and basically said, I I want to understand how to dry farm. I don't know how to do it. And the person, it's kind of, like you were alluding to with the camp that you went to in Oregon, you had that one moment that changed your whole life, right? Yeah. And, he basically offered to spend a day with me in the vineyard and to tell me about how to think about dry farming. Cool. And it was one of those days where incredibly inspiring. And he didn't say it as crudely as the French winemaker, but he said, if you're irrigating, the roots are always going to stay superficial. And if you want wines that show depth, that really show the place, you have to be dry farming. And so that was a revelation for me. And I think the fact that I was learning a lot from someone who was working for a prestigious winery in the area that has a lot of respect, I think helped my family have faith in moving in this direction. Yeah.
So even though most people are saying, this is going to fail.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going to move to the next one.
We're about to. Right before halftime, Mason, how does communication work in those moments where you put yourself out for like a 56-yard field goal in December?
I did.
Let's talk about communication there. That LaFleur didn't call that.
Yeah, it was into half, and I knew I could make the kick. Yeah. So
you better make the kick. When you put yourself out
there.
They
were being indecisive, and I just made the decision.
He just ran out. Wow. And I told him after the game.
Longest kick I've made in Lambeau
in December.
Yeah, it was like 10 degrees.
He had a knee surgery right before the season too. I was literally on the sidelines, and I'm looking, or not on the sidelines. I'm in the stands, and I'm kind of looking. And I'm looking at LaFleur, and I'm looking at Mason run out, and I could tell he didn't call a field goal. Yeah. I could tell he didn't.
I basically ran Aaron off the field and just hit it through.
But that's a special relationship too. Like that you said, I'm kicking it. Aaron hates when the field goal unit comes out. So good on you both. Good thing you made it. We just looked at
each other. He was like, all right, makes sense. Like, I think
right before half.
Yeah, it's like you got to get points, right? Yeah. So you go out there and you take a chance. Again, those are the moments that you have to go into, and that was one of those moments, and it was awesome.
Well, I moved on to Mason's glass of Grenache also, so I guess we were probably deep into segment 3. We're ready for segment 3. I'm most excited about this conversation because I think the correlation between Lambeau Field and what you did to make your grapes stress out is real. Yeah. And so tell us about, I'll hand you back your Grenache. Tell us about this red blend, this Bordeaux style red blend.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring something with a little bit of age. So, 2018, and it's a 75% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Cabernet Franc blend. Comes from Nuns Canyon, which is a vineyard that sits at about 1,200 feet, goes up to about 1,800 feet. Wow. So the soils are all old lava flow. Lava is really rich in iron, and I brought a few of the rocks to show you guys, nice. which is kind of cool to see.
Fun.
So there's something even more fun with this that I'll show you in just a second. So basically, this is basalt, so it's basically old lava flow, and lava really rich in iron. In certain instances with basalt, you can get an iron oxide called magnetite, and magnetite has a magnetic attraction. So these rocks, actually, this is just like what you put on a clipboard, but you can kind of play around.
Whoa.
But they actually have a magnetic attraction. You can test it out, see for yourself. What that means for the wine is the wine's not necessarily magnetic.
Nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see. How does that reflect in the wine? You'll see iron on the nose very, very clearly, and the minerality is really defined by iron. So you'll see a really kind of sanguine characteristic, more kind of red and black fruits, so more like plum, and kind of a beautiful earthiness for me on the aroma. So really deep wine, and I think with the tannins, really super refined. So it's all stone basically up there. And when you have stone, you have a lot of minerality, but you also have kind of a character where the tannins are super, super refined. Yeah. And the combination of those two things, you have this softness, but this kind of energy. So the wine has power, but it also has a sense of weightlessness to it that comes from the minerality. So it's a special wine that we make, and really happy to kind of share it.
I love it.
Wow. I love that, how you describe that.
The scent to me almost has a little bit more of, oh man, I love it. It
You're
evokes
just waiting
again,
for me to say something.
Mason. It evokes again, like the outdoors. I smell like smoke and meat, but then I taste more like a little. That softness to me is almost a little vanilla with that. I love how not abrasive it is.
Yeah.
But I've never used the word energy to describe how wine tastes before. It's energy and it's powerful. Yeah. But it's like it's almost powerful, like a tidal wave is powerful. Like there's no edge to it.
Say on like a vineyard like this, you're talking about like volcanic soil. Like how do you dry farm that and not lose everything? I mean, how does that?
Yeah, I mean, it actually was not intuitive for me at all. We have two main vineyards, this high elevation, super stony site, low elevation at the bottom of the hill site with more silt clay. Okay. So when we started a dry farm, I assumed the lower elevation one would be the easy one with more silt and clay. And it turned out to be the opposite. Wow. So
really?
This is very stony, but the beauty of it is basically the stone is super fractured. Okay. And the fractures act like, highways for the roots. So we were able to, they chase the water. They have a space to go. And in a weird way, they can get deep very, very quickly. Clay silt, the challenge is it's great when there's moisture, but once it dries out, it becomes a kind of concrete. Wow. So it's
you wouldn't think, right?
It's really working hard.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So I read in one of your articles that vines can be trained in these stressful situations, and then you're going to get deeper vines, less foliage on the vines, and thicker skinned grapes. And when I was reading that, all the obvious connection to me was what you get when you play at Lambeau Field. Those guys, you are just trained. Like the elements train you to be tougher, to be more resilient. And I love how you kept choosing this more difficult way so that you could have this full expression of what you had in the soil, which it sounds like from some of the other research I did, when that terroir specialist came out, he wasn't even sure you were going to have it. Yeah, it was like, we're going to come and see. Yeah. And see if you, I don't know if qualify is the right word, but you kept leaning into and continuing choosing this harder path because you knew this payoff was worth it for you. Like, I want the deeper roots that people are saying that's European wine or whatever. You wanted the deeper roots. And the pivot to that with Mason is, I'm not proud to say this, but I do publicly admit there were a lot of times I was trying to encourage him to leave Green Bay. Yeah. Because I'm like, honey, you're a field goal kicker. Like this environment is not conducive to what you're trying to do, like to what your job is. There's a reason why other people don't want to come here. I remember kickers, that is, I remember what was that? What year when the Packers called and were like, we're going to franchise tag you if you don't re-sign. And so that was a no-brainer. But then you chose Green Bay every time. Do you feel like that challenging environment like brought out the best of what you could be as a competitor? Like, why did you keep embracing it? Even when, your dear wife who just wanted you to maybe have a little bit easier
I don't like
road.
Easy, though. I don't like easy.
Which is what y'all have in common.
Every time.
But why did you keep choosing it? And how did that ultimately end up in a legacy that was probably more than you could have dreamed of, which is maybe what you're achieving?
Yeah. Is legacy, right? Too. Yes. It's like you get to a point where it was like, I could have chosen to leave. I think it was 2020 was where there was probably some options. Like I'd had a great 2019 season, and it was Colts, a couple other teams.
We're talking indoors. Like this is the layup. This is the layup.
Play in like multiple indoor stadiums. I'm
like, that's a longer career or whatever.
I played a long
It was a long time.
But I was talking to my agent. We were talking back and forth, and it was just like, I just have I can do something that might never be broken, and it wasn't about like pride for me. It was just like, I wanted to just embrace that challenge and chase it down. Yeah. I wanted to play, like do the most games, play consecutive games played. Yep. It was like just, the field goals, try to win another Super Bowl. Yeah. I was like, I was looking at these teams too, and I'm like, Aaron Rodgers is still here. Like we have a team. We were in the NFC Championship in 2019. Like we have a great opportunity to go win something. So all those things, like the challenge and and just being a Green Bay Packer, is like, I just could not leave it.
Yeah.
And
It was the right move. Good job, honey. Good job.
Okay. Thank you. And so legacy means a lot. And I think it's so important to, again, not shy away from hard things just because they're hard.
Yeah.
And is that what you had to do? You had to do that. You had to say dry farming is the way. Like, we have this mountain vineyard. So can you speak a little bit even on just how special Nuns Canyon is?
Yeah, no, it's super special. I think what it's not necessarily exactly the same, but what I've realized about myself over time, looking backwards, is the path that everyone goes isn't necessarily always the path that I feel like I need to go. And I think there's people that do really well at that. And I think you need to understand those things. And for the first 6 years, we did things the way that all of our neighbors do, and what is commonly accepted. And
smarter, not harder, right? Like, why would we ignore the wisdom of what's going on? But you had a calling to something different. Yeah,
and I think at the end of the day, like, you have to carve your own path. And for me, I love drinking wine just generally outside of my work because it takes you to a place and it has a unique sensibility. And if, like Cabernet Sauvignon, if there wasn't something coming from the soil, it'd taste the same everywhere, right? And I really wanted to accentuate kind of the difference of where and really see the place in the glass of wine. So it is a special place. I mean, the soils are, it's crazy. They're magnetic. You can hold it above the topsoil and it'll jump up.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool to see. And
I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I want to come see it for myself.
Yeah, and it's high elevation. You can see San Francisco basically because you're so high. Yeah, it's a really, really unique hillside and cool place to go. And the wines.
So you never get tired of going to work and like doing their thing.
I haven't gotten tired yet. I think like I'm sure
it's hard every year, right? Like, let's recreate, like, let's make something great.
Yeah. And I think that the hard thing for me, I mean, the thing that energizes me is like our best wine's ahead of us. Like I haven't made it yet.
Yeah. I love that.
And I think when you have that mentality, you go into every season, the table gets reset, right? And there's different conditions and you utilize what to do a little bit better.
I think that's what I like most about wine, like why it means a lot to me for like a daily ritual of when we're choosing the wine with dinner and slowing down our day together is that concept of like the best is yet to come, or we're buying this wine for several years in the future. We'll go ahead and conclude this segment with a shout out to Perlick Refrigeration, our excellent other sponsor.
One of the best things about this podcast is how it connects our love of wine with the people and companies who share that passion.
Like Perlick Refrigeration. We first crossed paths through Mason's work with Sartori Cheese and Make-A-Wish, where Mason met Jeff Schwager, who's now on Perlick's board and an investor in one of our favorite Napa wineries, Ovid.
Perlick has been setting the standard for wine storage for over a century, and their wine refrigeration is second to none because great wine deserves perfect care.
We're proud to have Perlick as part of Crosby's crew, keeping our wine at the perfect temp, from the first pour to the last drop.
All right, so here's a fun thing, John. We had some specific questions for you.
Yep.
The first one was submitted by Emily Nelson, whose husband, Jordy Nelson, was one of Mason's teammates. Okay. She is one of our better followers. She definitely follows. She's a great friend, even better friend. And she would like to know, does Hamel Family Wine still do the Christmas celebration? And is the stargazing
tradition?
And I said, Emily, I don't know, but I'm going to ask. And also, brief shout out, Emily and Jordy are who we both first enjoyed your wine with.
Oh, cool. So, yes, we do what's called Lighting of the Vines.
Oh.
And it's a fun holiday celebration. Initially, it was this kind of event where we had a pianist would come and each key was kind of plugged into lighting a certain row. Yeah. So they play like holiday music and it would kind of the vineyard would light up in a way. So that was the start of it. We're now into, probably year 10, maybe 11. And this year we're actually going to be in Europe, where they have real frost in the spring, they will light these kind of candles in the vineyard to warm the conditions. So we're actually going to do this year is going to be very analog, and we're going to light the vineyard that way. It'll be I think a pretty cool thing to see, but it'll be a transitional year. We're going old school.
How do people become a part of this?
Our wine club basically gets the invite.
Okay.
So you have to be in our wine club.
Step one, wine club.
Yeah, step one is wine club. And then if we don't, usually we're able to fill it with wine club, but if not, usually we have some community.
Okay, so wine club first.
Wine club first.
Okay.
We got about...
So Desi Johnson, we're good. Desi Johnson of the Wine Cellar in De Pere, who has an incredible offering of wines. They've actually been ranked like top 100 in the country.
Yeah.
Anyway,
awesome.
she has more of a comment.
Less of a question.
She wants to make it clear that she loves selling and talking about your wine, and that she would like to see the Badger stay on some of the labels.
Yeah,
Please keep the Badger on the labels.
Is there a request?
Directly.
I told her I'd pass the message. I'd rather see you put Ralphie on the label, but
so anytime I come to Wisconsin, especially as we transition, so you guys see the labels. We have the older one has the Badger, the other one has the Mountain, and I get dragged through the mud pretty much every time I come to Wisconsin on this. We're transitioning away from the Badger. The quick comment is in, the 49 other states in the country, it's not necessarily an advantage. And I end up having to spend probably, if I'm selling wine to a buyer.
Do you talk a lot about the Badger?
Just explaining it.
Yeah, explaining it and not even getting into, anything about the wine.
Oh,
so,
are you from Wisconsin?
Yeah. No, it's a long story.
Maybe we need a story about the Badger climbing the mountain.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That might be the
just
compromise.
Have a little Badger.
But what do you have to say to Desi? Like, is the Badger going to stay on like a bottle? Will it be there somewhere, or does she need to just stockpile now?
She needs to stockpile.
Oh,
because,
Desi, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is not the news you wanted to hear.
Yeah, we still have. If you visit, there is a Badger that is right outside our gate. That's kind of.
So that's not. You're not redecorating.
No, we're not redecorating, but the labels have changed. Yeah.
Hey, Desi, there's going to be like a holographic Badger, I swear.
Yeah, you can just draw a little Badger on there.
All right, John, it's your turn. Ask a question. Ask anything. It has happened.
Okay, so my question was for you guys. You enjoy wine. I'd be curious if you were to start your own vineyard. Oh. Where would you do it? And what would you grow? And that can be as a group, or that could be an individual answer.
Collectively. Gosh, it's so tough because honestly, some of our favorite people now, like, getting to know you, like Tony Mull, is like Sonoma is so unique and different, right? Like it does feel more like a farming community whenever you go and experience it. But we've spent some time in Napa as well. So should we just choose something far away? Should we just say like,
no,
you don't want to disappoint anyone.
Okay. I'll start by saying this is bad news. Like, just to say out loud, but I can't live without Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah. So that's a good starting point.
So we're probably going to be in Oakville.
Yeah.
No.
Or on top of a mountain. Honestly,
we'll definitely be in California. It would be a mountain vineyard, which kind of like cuts us out because they're not allowing any more designations for mountain vineyards, right?
Yeah.
It's becoming difficult.
More
not difficult. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Which is kind of special in a sense. Like, what's done is done.
So we don't know, probably less of where, but definitely just really good cab.
Yeah.
It'd be California.
With California cab. Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's not great wine other places, but
and are y'all, like, I know Nun Mountain is like in Sonoma area, like Moon Mountain's there as well. Like,
it's in Moon Mountain, so it's within.
Where it is. It's
within the Moon,
okay.
and Moon Mountain is basically the western side of Mount Veeder.
Yes.
So the county line is at the top ridge.
You get Mount Veeder on the
east side, and then Moon Mountain on the west side.
I think
like
because we met at
I feel like
University of Colorado in the mountains,
Yeah.
it just would have to be a mountain vineyard.
Yeah.
And I will say,
like
so this is just Cabernet Sauvignon and Cab Franc.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
the Cab
different
Franc,
because we'd have to be able to. Maybe you could give us a little bit of a little lesson here. Where would we have to be able to grow? Like, I would
definitely dry farm.
Me too. We are dry farmers.
Dry farmers.
Yeah.
We want the deep roots.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We want the deep roots. There's no question. All right. So, John, you have a little whiteboard over there.
Okay.
This doesn't have to be something that like you commit to for the rest of your life. But this morning, out of the wines you brought, what did you, and your coffee cup isn't an option, which I snapped a picture while we were recording because this is a new experience. You have to write down which one you like drinking the most.
Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to agree. So I'll put ours in half. I'll put ours in half. And we are going to say why. Here, you can go first. I'm thinking / drinking. Thinking while I drink, drinking while I think.
It's all things. All right.
It's tough because like this is our first like really feeling like wine people like industry. Like this is a 9 a.m. wine drinking. So I'm like, there's one that was clearly like a breakfast wine for me, which is new. Okay, I'm going to try not to look at yours.
I know which one you like. I mean,
You do not.
drink half mine.
That actually, it just worked in the moment.
Oh.
Okay, let's go ahead and share. 1, 2, 3. What did you write?
So my pen wasn't as strong as yours, but I went for the Nuns Canyon.
All right, we just made Crosby's crew history that we had a unanimous decision. I was really
unanimous.
close. We all said
I know,
Nuns
first
Canyon.
unanimous.
Oh, yeah.
First unanimous.
I wasn't leaning Grenache, but like,
I was actually leaning Sauvignon Blanc, which is now a breakfast wine for me. I
Yeah.
could have it with that avocado
No.
toast, no problem.
I decide like for breakfast, I like a.
You like
a
Cabernet?
bigger- yeah, I'm like a Cab guy for breakfast.
You're like,
I don't know. Like in the morning, I want like a hearty breakfast. I want something like this feels like I could have it.
Could we
with
put,
my,
like-
my bacon and eggs?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, I was going to say, like, are we adding like collagen and protein and calling it a smoothie? Or,
So awesome.
John, we were really kind of geeking out, excited that you'd be here. We were a little surprised that, like, I think it went 2006, 2008. When did you graduate college?
2009.
2009.
Okay,
like, it's kind of humbling to think that someone kind of our same age and stage is making these wines that we think are exquisite.
Yeah.
We really loved, we didn't bring it up on the podcast, but knowing that we're both twin parents.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Special kind of connection there. And we just want to,
Yeah, we forgot our kids for an hour.
that's the power of Kohler. I've forgotten him for the last 2 days.
So tell us, like, you're here for Kohler Food Wine as
Yeah.
well. Just talk about
What are you going to do here?
Yeah, what are you doing? Obviously, other than the Crosby's Crew podcast.
Yeah.
What else you got going?
So I'm not a golfer, so a little bit of this is wasted on me. But I
don't compute.
At a certain point, I had to choose between golf, and I didn't play tennis growing up. But tennis for me feels like my body. I can still run around and hit the ball.
Gives you a work.
And actually gave
I
me
understand completely. It's my favorite.
Yeah. So they have a great tennis facility here. So I brought my racket.
I was trying to get him to yesterday, and he said no.
Can get you out of the spa.
This is actually true.
And it gave me, I was thinking about, kicking at Lambeau, and it's just like, I know just playing in 50-degree weather, hitting a tennis ball is different than when you're I can only imagine a heavier thing that you're having to send a lot further, how much more difficult that is. So it really, I know. I was thinking about that because I can really appreciate that. And the other thing, going back to your career, what I'm doing is really focusing deeply on a place, for the long term and creating a legacy at one place and be able to have that continuity and stick with a program and really, I think, make a meaningful impact. That also kind of, I feel like I identify with.
Awesome.
I haven't achieved what you've achieved yet, but
it's going to
give me the, the inspiration.
And I'm trying to decide, was that a subtle dig at, transfer portal? Because that's another podcast. But
that was another podcast.
I think you just kind of talked a little bit about what a legacy means to you. So leaving your mark where you are, and that's probably why you stayed at Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
It was worth it. The relationship, the time.
You get the opportunity, you see the opportunity, and then you
stick with it.
And you go at it and you're going to have failures along the way.
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, I see it. I'm going to plod along, and we're going to make this happen. So, John, I really appreciate you. That was so much fun.
Cheers to goals.
Thank you guys for having me.
To my goal to be at the lighting of the vines and to many more successful vintages. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Who you share it with.
Well, that's it for this pour. Thanks for spending time with Crosby's crew. If you tried one or all of the wines from today's episode, we want to hear about it. Head to our socials and let us know which one was your favorite and why.
Curious about what we're tasting next? Check the lineup and send us your questions. We'll be answering them in the upcoming episodes. Nothing's too nerdy or too simple. If you're wondering, someone else is probably wondering too.
And hey, before you go, just a reminder that drinking and driving is never okay. Please enjoy wine responsibly. Always have a designated driver lined up before the bottles open and consume in moderation.
Until next time, cheers from the crew.